Snapchat has over 450 million daily active users, yet has only had 2 profitable quarters in their entire lifespan. Tens of billions in revenue, but 0 profits. Not only that, they've had annual consistent growth in revenue, yet a share price that has gone downwards then sideways. This is especially surprising given their scale, as Meta just profited $20 billion within a single quarter. So how did Snapchat become one of the biggest social media giants, yet still not able to make any money? Looking back, it's easy to see why Snapchat exploded. When it first launched in 2011, the social media landscape was very different. Apps were moving towards perfected, curated, and almost professional photos and posts instead of authentic glimpses of people's lives. But founders Bobby Murphy and Evan Spiegel saw a gap in the market. With most photo apps on the market advertising ways to make photos prettier or more stylized, we thought there was an opportunity to do something different. We wanted a place to share awkward selfies and funny photos with our friends. Snapchat flipped social media on its head. Instead of posting something that would stay up forever, on Snapchat, they would disappear. This was called ephemeral messaging. If you sent someone a snap, once they opened it, they could only view it for 10 seconds or less. Then, it was gone forever. It was the opposite of what social media was at the time: low stakes, authentic, and fun. It took the pressure off sending the perfect snap and just sending what was real, as it wasn't going to last anyway. Snapchat isn't about capturing the traditional Kodak moment. It's about communicating with the full range of human emotion, not just what appears to be pretty or perfect. A novel idea, but Snapchat took this even further. Snapchat pioneered the streak, but their biggest invention was actually the story. Public photos or videos that disappeared after a day. Same temporary fun, but to everyone. We see this everywhere today: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and even Telegram, but it all started with Snapchat. You could say that Snapchat is one of the most innovative social media companies. They created these snap streaks, which encourage you to snap your friends every day and keep it up. It feels like every game on the App Store has something like this today, but at the time, it was revolutionary and propelled Snapchat's metrics through the roof. Then they created live location, see where your friends are for spontaneous hangouts, or a way to see your friends got home safe. Though I will admit, this could be used for some nefarious purposes. Then there's Snapchat's powerful AR filters.
Hey Joss, I have a question for you. Do you know how these Snapchat filters work?
Like the previous features, this was the first of its kind. It's hard to explain why these were important, but they added a unique experience just to Snapchat. When a new filter was released, people flocked to try it out, and some of them were extremely powerful, strange, or hilarious. Filters are everywhere today, but this was part of Snapchat's identity back in the day. And even today, no one does filters quite like Snapchat. Snapchat quickly exploded, climbing to the top of the App Store and Google Play Store. By 2016, they passed 100 million users, then 200 million in 2019. In fact, almost every single quarter in their entire lifespan, their daily active user count has grown to over 450 million today. Their revenue followed suit, consistently growing almost every quarter to $5.3 billion in 2024. Their focus from the very beginning to now has been less formal and more fun. It was different, and it was insanely popular with one particular group: teenagers. People who used social media more frequently and wanted a more authentic experience than curated perfect photos on Instagram. Hearing all that, it sounds like Snapchat is doing great. Or at least, they should be doing great. But if we look closer, we find a very different story. Snapchat's business may be slipping, but one thing that shouldn't slip is your online security, your passwords, emails, and personal info all across the internet. That's why I'm excited about today's sponsor, ProtonPass. ProtonPass is a secure password manager built by the same team behind ProtonMail and ProtonVPN. It does more than just store passwords. It encrypts everything: login info, credit cards, 2FA codes, and even private notes across all your devices. And like all Proton tools, it's built by a community-funded company that puts privacy first. No ads, no data mining, no big tech. Before Proton Pass, I was guilty of using the same handful of passwords with small variations for everything. I knew it wasn't secure, but I was also too lazy to fix it. Then I tried Proton Pass. I created one strong master password and it handles everything else. It generates strong logins, autofills them, and it even stores 2FA codes, so I don't have to juggle between apps. One of my favorite features is Hide My Email. It lets me create anonymous email aliases when signing up for new services. That means if one of them gets leaked or spammed, my actual email stays protected. Proton Pass also offers dark web monitoring, passkey support, and secure sharing through vaults. So if you want to ramp up your security and privacy, Proton Pass is a must-have, especially given that the basic features are all completely free. If you want to forget about remembering passwords, if you're a social media manager in need, or you just want to make sure your information is safe, use the link in my description, proton.me/pass/logicallyanswered, to check out Proton Pass and get an amazing discount. Thank you to Proton for supporting our videos.
Proton. Privacy by default.
Aside from an absurd spike during the pandemic, Snapchat stock has gone sideways since they went public. Despite their revenue climbing year after year, their profits have done anything but. In the fourth quarter of 2021, Snap reported their first profits ever, and their stock price quickly surged 60%. CEO and founder Evan said, "2021 was an exciting year for Snap, and we made significant progress growing our business and serving our global community." Everything seemed to be going great, but then things went right back to normal, unprofitable quarter after quarter. The demographics aren't in their favor either. According to Snapchat, they reached 90% of 13 to 24-year-olds in 25 countries. But what really matters is how long they use the app. Snapchat ranks near the very bottom in terms of monthly user engagement, behind Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and very far behind TikTok. Their time spent is also poor at about 3 hours and 20 minutes per month per user. Instagram was at 16 hours, YouTube was at 27 hours, and the TikTok was at 34 hours or over 10 times more. Their brand perception is also struggling. While it used to be the preferred app for teenagers, it has slowly dropped down that list. Currently, Instagram is the most used app by teenagers, and TikTok is consistently ranked as the favorite. In 2023, 28% of teenagers ranked Snapchat as their favorite app, but in 2024, that number fell to 18%. Why? Well, it's a bit of a complex issue. You might have picked up on some hints I dropped earlier, but a problem Snapchat faced was poaching. They were innovative, sure, but unfortunately, that just meant they were a first mover, or rather, a first victim. Facebook and most other platforms have blatantly copied everything Snapchat did. Stories appeared on Instagram, then Facebook. Filters showed up soon as well. They even released their own copy of the disappearing snaps with Poke, although it was shut down in less than 2 years. Then they released another Snapchat clone, Slingshot, which also died in about a year. I suppose you can steal with no consequences as long as you're big and powerful enough. All of this hurt Snapchat's growth. Almost every competitive advantage eroded quickly, but it doesn't quite explain the lack of profit. They're making revenue and that's also growing, so why can't they make profit? Snap has poured billions and billions into their most powerful competitive advantage, AR technology, and this goes further than just filters. They've recently revealed their own augmented reality glasses called Spectacles. They see this as a crucial part of the future and have even partnered with OpenAI to integrate AI tools for developers, but it hasn't exactly paid off yet. This isn't their first try at AR glasses. That was actually back in 2016, which resulted in a $40 million write-off of unsold inventory. They tried again in 2021, but also failed to gain sales. Evan Spiegel insists that AR camera technology is the right direction, but it's hard to say if he's right. Keep in mind, Meta has invested $63 billion into similar technology with underwhelming results. But Meta can afford these losses because of their absurd revenue and absurd profit. Snapchat can't, at least not yet. And I think there's a much bigger issue, a root problem at the heart of all of this, which I don't know if Snapchat can solve. Snapchat, like other social media apps, monetizes through advertising, yet this is a huge problem exclusively for Snapchat. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Reddit, and other social media apps all have one thing in common: great retention through feeds, lots and lots of user-generated content. Snapchat doesn't have this. To be clear, you can scroll on Snapchat, but it's extremely lackluster compared to competitors. The app is built for you to open, send a snap, maybe check some stories, and move on. Not a great environment to see a lot of ads. But what about their billions in revenue? Well, $5 billion in annual revenue is impressive, but not compared to other social media giants. In that same year, Meta generated $164 billion, and unlike Snapchat, actually made a lot of profit. While Snapchat has hundreds of millions of users, their monetization of each user is quite poor due to low usage time and fewer opportunities to show ads. So what about the future? Is there any hope for Snapchat? Today, Snapchat is in a difficult position. It's been around 10 years. That might not sound like a problem. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and many more have existed for much longer. The problem comes with Snapchat's target market: teenagers. Snapchat is falling out of favor with their target audience. The original group that adopted Snapchat, teenagers, have grown up. When they do, the features like streaks, live location, and timed messages aren't as appealing, as younger generations can find that in many places. Their users moved on.
You've said that. Clarify.
What are you, 13?
No, what? I'm not allowed to have streaks now.
Who still even uses Snapchat?
Everyone uses Snapchat.
Many users who signed up for Discord as teenagers still use Discord, same with Instagram, but the same cannot be said about Snapchat. New teenagers do jump on Snapchat, sure, but that brings us to another problem. Advertisers spend money to get customers. Pretty obvious, sure, but it means they want to show ads to people who can actually spend money. Teenagers essentially have a zero disposable income, which means a much lower average revenue per user, or ARPU. You could say the same thing is true with TikTok, but teenagers spend over 10 times the time there. So even though their ARPU is lower, their overall revenue is much higher. TikTok is intruding on Snap's demographic. Online advertisers are spending less, and a move by Apple to limit the data apps can collect from iPhone users has been a gut punch to the business model. Snapchat essentially has low session times from users who have low buying power, but there might be some hope. In Q4 of 2024, Snapchat announced their second ever profitable quarter, $9 million in net income, which isn't all that impressive given that they had a $1.5 billion in revenue in that same quarter, meaning less than a 1% net margin, but it is technically in the green. The whole year was still a loss of $26 million, but Snapchat's profit margins are getting better. Every quarter since 2022, their margins have improved from negative 31% to negative 13%, and now it might finally be in the green. Part of it could be because of users and advertisers jumping to Snapchat during the fears of the TikTok ban, but there are other changes happening as well. Not too long ago, the platform added Snapchat Plus, a paid subscription. When it launched in late 2023, it had 5 million subscribers, but now it's up to 14 million. In an environment with less ad revenue, this makes a huge difference to their bottom line. But Snapchat still has a long way to go in terms of proving real profitability, and only time will tell if they ever get there. But to be fair, things could be a lot worse. On the bright side, Snapchat has been able to show enough growth and bring in enough revenue to stay afloat and independent. The same cannot be said about BeReal, who was recently quietly sold off in the background after making zero revenue. Check out this video to learn more, but until then, I'm Hari, and I'll see you guys on the next one.